With a heart full of thunder, don't ask why or how. In the ruins of glory, find your ticket to ride. It's a roller coaster, baby. Buckle up for the ride. Get it, come get it if you think you can. Break through the noise like a madman. There's a fire burning deep in the night. Get it, come get it if you've got the night. 생각해 또 나도 몰라 what did I do so wrong. 다 비슷하게 살아가는데 꿈은 이뤄지는 게 아니라 꾸는 거라 생각하며 살아왔지. 아무것도 아닌 나에겐 누가 말해줬지. 진짜 원하면 언젠간 되지. 말만 잘하는 사람이 되기 싫어. 진짜 잘해. 이제 나도 할래. I'm gonna be a legend. We're gonna be a legend. 우리가 해냈다고 다 고개를 끄덕일 수 있게. I'm gonna be a legend. We're gonna be a legend. 그때까지 나랑 같이 갈래. 손을 잡아줘. Sometimes I don't know what to do. Am I doing it right? 마냥 나이만 먹어가는 걸까? 다 잘하는 사람이 되고 싶어. 똑같이 하는 건 재미가 없잖아. 아무것도 아닌 나에겐 누가 말해줬지. 진짜 원하면 언젠간 되지. 말만 잘하는 사람이 되기 싫어. 진짜 잘해. 이제 나도 할래. I'm gonna be a legend. We're gonna be a legend. 우리가 해냈다고 다 고개를 끄덕일 수 있게. Gonna be a legend. Gonna be a legend. 그때까지 나랑 같이 갈래. 손을 잡아줘. 이젠 해낼 수 있어. 믿어볼래. 이젠 해낼 수 있어. I'm gonna be a legend. We're gonna be a legend. 우리가 해냈다고 다 고개를 끄덕일 수 있게. I'm gonna be a legend. We're gonna be a legend. 그때까지 나랑 같이 갈래. 손을 잡아줘.
Running round like dollars in the wind, bending over backwards just to let you in. I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours, I was. But you were calling me a liar, 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 liar. I've been putting in the hours, I was. And it's I'm sick of fighting the things that you said. I don't wanna burn all our bridges ahead. I'm tired of going to bed when you left me on red just to turn up the noise in my head. I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours, I was. But you were calling me a liar, 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 liar. I've been putting in the hours, I was. And it's coming down to now and now and now and now and never. I was putting in the putting in. Come over here. I see it in your eyes, I feel it in the air. I know you're going through it, you know I've been there. But life is like a highway, it ain't always fair.
Hello, and welcome now to the playoffs of the Sun Conference. We've got just 2 more matches to go. 4 teams remain in this season, and we've got our 3rd place match and our 1st place match coming for you today. And we're going to wrap up the season here and crown a victor in just a moment.
Yeah, that we are. Obviously, the 3rd place decider match. These 2 teams have unfortunately not been able to find as much success as they were. Keiser University, we saw them step up, increase their performance from the regular season with a lovely 3-0 win. Unfortunately, they could not repeat it against the reigning champions of Warner. Texas A&M similarly struggled against SCAD. Both of those teams obviously we'll be seeing in about an hour or so in these grand finals. But of course, that doesn't mean they're fully out of the tournament. There's still things to play for. Obviously, getting a podium finish would be a great success still for your esports program, and so that is what they're going to be looking for here today.
Yeah, and that's important, getting a podium finish and also just ending the season on a win is really important for both of these programs to really show off. And like you said, they had some good results, both these programs, in the end tail half of the season. But overall, now you're looking at that 3rd place match coming up. After that, of course, we've got the Warner Royals going up against Savannah College of Art and Design for that 1st place.
Thing to me here is last time they played, Warner able to take the 3-0 win. SCAD, I kind of mentioned to me that they weren't taking it 100%, but when we had Katakami on for interview just last night, then it's kind of saying that they had been putting a bit more time in, have been thinking of some counter strats, had been anticipating some bans, so that we SCAD coming in this time, no really excuses to fall back on. Hopefully though, that also translates to an increase in performance, because with that, we could have a really close game on our hands.
Yeah, and speaking of a really close game, we've actually got our first map pick, and we actually do have our first band pick as well, I think, coming through the pipeline. But we're going to Ilios for our first control map. I'm a bit interested. I don't typically see a lot of Ilios through the pipeline, but we do have a very specific run of map types that we're going to be running through. And these teams do have some map favorites. So has Elios been like a particular favorite of the Sun Conference so far, Spec?
No, not really. And considering it was Tamet who could go for this first pick, first ban, I'm a little bit interested they did end up going towards this, considering what they've been wanting to play. I understand that Aqua, their tank, does tend to like the Winston. And they do like to sort of play these dive comps in general, which does lead a little bit towards the Elios pick. But they have to recognize that they're playing against a team who basically one-trick the Doomfist, right? Housewife, whenever we've seen him, has been an absolute force of nature on the hero, which is also really viable here. So not quite sure if this was the best decision necessarily, especially considering the Winston's rough matchup with the other main threat of the Seahawks, Mercs, who's going to be playing primarily Reaper, primarily Bastion. See how that works out in the lobby, though, as we are going to be going in a second. The bans, by the way, are going to be Zarya and...
It's going to be Lucio for the side of
Lucio,
Keiser.
yes. Okay, both entirely valid. Lucio bans is always annoying, especially on like control. It means you have to think a little bit more about how you're rotating. But, I mean, Amaya perfectly happy to play like Akiri, Springtrap. Obviously, had a pretty exciting moment yesterday on the Big Hit, was able to stay alive. So I don't think this is a target ban that's going to be incredibly impactful.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised on the side of Tamet banning out that Zarya when you said Housewife is a pretty solid Doomfist one trick as we roll into this opening fight, looking for that tank matchup of that Doomfist versus the Diva. And I'm also looking at Zombat on this Vendetta, that character that has been so devastating for weeks and months now since her release, with her ability to dive in and just cleave through the enemy team, gets that early pick onto Skysius, and Zombat is just going to keep the party train rolling for a little bit longer before getting taken out as Amaya takes them down, and that'll be Keiser University starting to be in some trouble. Gets a pick onto Manny, does Merked. Now trying to put some pressure in, but you see the power of this Diva against the Reaper to deny those shotgun blasts and that power, but eventually that defense matrix will run out, and now you really need to see Tamet start to disengage. Otherwise, Kaiser's gonna have a field day right now.
Yeah, Housewife trying to get stuck in, forces the cleanse early, and Skyzius getting that pill onto Gala. Should surely delay some Tanya. Manny falls as well to the Cassidy, the 6-shooter of Skyzius. Warming up after a bit of an overstep there in that first fight. This is such a strong position defensively as well. This is how hard it is for any of the Eagles to take space into Housewife, who's just continuing to hold the W key down.
Yeah, this is right on the line between just aggression and really good play and absolutely feeding your brains out, and Housewife staying on the better side of it. Zombat, unfortunately, staying a little bit too far on the other side of it, as Housewife getting taken down by a pulse bomb. Deadeye's going to be coming through. We'll have to see if the defense matrix gives them that time to rotate. Almost a little bit of playing with fire there was Manny on that Tracer with the Deadeye, but it will be a quick swap around for Tamet to retake point.
53%, nothing to scoff at, but equally could have been a little bit higher for the Seahawks, especially if they were given a chance to charge into their ultimates, which they now have. Speaking of, Meteor Strike now active, no Springtrap, however, makes this so much harder.
So much harder. They do get to pick onto Zombat, onto that Vendetta. The dive pressure is significantly lessened, so Keiser University can really push a little bit forward into that, and Gala nearly just died there. That was dangerous. Now Merch does have this Death Blossom online, but has to be so wary of the Diva. You get that ult defensive matrix, and you're gonna be in trouble, as Zombat's going to take down Amelia on this Kiriko, leaving Gala the only Kiriko on the line. And Pulse going to stick on to Housewife. As back and forth, there goes the Death Blossom of Merc. It's going to be both immediately, but gets taken down by the self-destruct to remech for Aquanova.
Absolute pandemonium there. More than a couple big slip-ups from both of these teams. That when the dust settles, it is still the Eagles who are in control. 75% means we're on the precipice of one-fight territory. Seahawks now, clock most definitely getting shorter.
I really like the play here from Zombot, just stepping on the point every so often to keep this in the control of Tomet. But Manny's going to go down from an early dive from Housewife. Zombot goes down, and it's a great play from Housewife to take down a Cassidy with the dive in. And it's going to be a clean sweep for the Seahawks, finally getting control.
Yeah, much better for them. Able to now begin accruing their progress. Now about 2 fights going to be what they need. This next fight should be pretty doable. The Deadeye is a competent enough counter towards that Sundering Blade. You've got Empower Punch on Housewife as well for the next 20 seconds. But still, that Sundering Blade is such a huge threat. You cannot overstep because it will punish you.
That it will. The Deadeye and the Sundering Blade are both ults that you really have to put some respect on their name for, as Housewife gonna have to use the Empowered Punch. It is going to get taken down early. Skyzius as well goes down. That's 2 for the Seahawks. And with Springtrap gone, that's just all you can do. Manny and the rest of the Eagles are just gonna cleave through the rest of the Seahawks. And that'll be round 1 going to the Eagles.
Very close, of course, but so far it feels like Housewife is being punished for some over-aggression relatively consistently. 2 or 3 times has been in a position which I think is kind of livable, and unfortunately doesn't get the correct sequence of abilities to escape that kind of situation. And so because they're losing their Doomfist so early, so consistently, then they are being punished. They are losing out on these fights because it does feel like without Housewife, their chance of winning relatively minimal. Moving here towards Lighthouse, and I do think this is actually going to make things a bit easier for the Eagles. Aquanova now on this Diva, we've seen a little while of now. On these kind of mid-range sight lines, high grounds, that hard camp, can find a lot of value here. House are going to have to really try to find much pulse value. You can TP there? I've actually never seen that before.
What?
I've never seen that before.
That's really cool. That was just really cool.
Oh no!
Aquanova goes down from that? They just used the boosters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's immediately back to the start, and Housewife has just a row of squishies to try and to dive in on, but a really smart play to stay back there.
Yeah, if he had the Empower Punch, he'd have gone for it, but didn't, so not really worth your kill power pressure. Simply isn't high enough. Again, looking for Punch, still not quite getting it, so just decides to go for the soft cycle with the regular fist instead.
Yeah, he just has to at this point. Housewife going in against Manny, or sorry, Merc going in against Manny, has some good pressure onto Zombot. Both the DPS gone, and that is the Eagles getting beaten back again and again off some really smart play from Housewife and Merc.
Yeah, I mean, both DPS trying to challenge the Reaper with no support help. Risky at the best of times, and of course against a player like Merc, only more so. Easy punish, and this is more like what we expected to see from Keiser University, really putting the pedals to the metal, right? Playing this tempo aggressive and punishing any attempt to take map controllers even remotely contested.
Yeah, they are making every step just be paved with blood here for the side of Comet pushing through. Oh, just has to pull back for a moment his Housewife, but is able to jump right in onto Manny and land the pick. That's gonna be another really massive play there from Skyzius and the rest of the Seahawks, from Housewife and the Seahawks, as now 68% and climbing, and it just has, there's been really not a lot of point pressure there, as Zombot's going to get taken down, dispatched with efficiency from Skyzius, and Keiser University and the Seahawks are just dispatching them. Manny goes down, and the Diva Bomb thrown in aggressively, not going to be enough time to remake, and it's just an uncountered Cassidy. I don't even know if Keiser University is going to use have to even need any of these ults at this point. With 5% to go,
Can't touch.
I don't think anyone's able to touch. No one's gonna touch.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, what a script flip from what we saw previously, right? Well, it's close, back and forth, controls seesawing between these two teams. But we get to Lighthouse, and the Seahawks sweep. But it's some wind beneath their wings, absolutely bloody ascend. Because that now tied 1-1. Ruins got to be the decider. Again, in theory, this is an area of the map that should be better for the Eagles. We see how that worked out for them previously. Skies, yes, as you mentioned, simply uncontested, has to be dealt with. Aquanova has to be the one to do it. Manny hovering the M-Ray right now. See if that works out any better than the previous picks. I have to say, I don't think so in theory. There's a boatload of damage, sure, but no burst, no CC, no escape cooldowns means that against the Doomfist, I mean, Housewife has to be looking at this pick as essentially free lunch.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're worried about for Manny is, can you get the value before Housewife just eats your entire kit for lunch, man? At this point, it's do or die for Tomet in this match as the momentum has just shifted around, and there's Manny with that first opening pick, getting the nade in onto Skyzius and a good counter onto that Cassidy. That's what I was expecting this pick to play as a little bit of a pressure onto the Cassidy at longer ranges. As now Mert pushing in onto Aquanova, helping into the back, putting pressure onto Manny. In trouble, but able to escape well as Springtrap goes down. And the Seahawks need a finishing blow early if they want anything, but they get a pick onto Gala, which is absolutely massive. Merc will pick up 2, so no supports on the line for Tomet, and that'll be the Seahawks getting a prayer answered.
Yeah, they play a super extended neutral after an overextension. Eagles don't really press the advantage in a way they should be able to, and so instead, Seahawks get enough time to set up their DPS, apply enough pressure that these are easy kills to collect. Because of that, they might not get the first cap, but they get the first fight win and lead momentarily.
Yeah. Pulse Bomb online for Zombot. You're looking for an early pick there as Skyzius and Manny both get traded out very early on. Housewife, though, going to get chained and restrained. Mecha gonna take them down. As now trying to hold on to this point and contest out. It's going to be a flip for Tomet as that'll be a really great play.
Indeed. I mean, again, back to seesawing, it seems like. Oh, Merc's almost one-tap Zombot recall forced out, but with Rayform now popped, truly this is a dead Reaper, the Shadow Step. Not quite good enough. Manny finds the final blow. Eagles now the ones in the lead. But the Seahawks coming online to their ultimates. This Kitsune Rush is a threat, and recall forced out from Zombot means they can't really harass the walk up the way they want to.
No, Housewife going in aggressive, holding on, trying to get a pick onto Gala, but a great TP to get themselves out of harm's way for just the moment, though. That Death Boss is going to take out Aquanova, and it's a quick retake from Keiser University. A bunch of ults used, though. That's 3 check marks gone.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the Seahawks composition isn't that ult dependent, and not in the same way that the Eagles one is. So if the Seahawks overspend, it's kind of okay. Their value mostly comes from their neutral, comes from the empowered punch. Eagles in their hands with that Kekai Sanctuary, with that Kitsune Rush, with that overclock rather, then a lot more firepower in terms of the ultimates we get now.
Yeah, speaking of the override, there's that early pick. Is a Sanctuary on point from Mecha, who's gonna get taken down by Housewife. And the pressure there onto both the supports just needs that little bit of finishing blow, but can't find it in the end. Manny going in very aggressive, but gonna get punished for that eventually. And Zombot finding a big pick onto Housewife with that Pulse Bomb. And now it's Merch really looking for the pick onto Gala. A great shot melee. Picks it up. Aquanova and Tomet somehow maintain.
Lost by territory here. Both these sides, realistically, Seahawks a little bit more time to figure out how to play it. Closer to the Meteor Strikes. Guys, this already has their Deadeye, of course. Aquanova to quickly find themselves overextended and begin to walk back.
Zombot gets taken down early. Tomet can't put that pressure onto the walk-up. Springtrap gone from the Seahawks. They need something big out of this Deadeye. Manny, though, picking up the Cassidy. It's 2 picks for Manny, and Housewife, one of the only ones left on point, has to just hold on will get the touch for OT, but is going to get immediately focus fired on top of. Even the block can only keep them alive for so long. It's Springtrap holding on, bomb thrown in to try and disrupt these reinforcements. There goes Amelia. No one on the side of Tomet having any pressure on them. It's just Gala able to pump out the damage, use those kunai as free as they could want, and Tomet will take map number 1.
Pretty close, and honestly, I think if we look at the scoreboard, it might even be marginally better for the Seahawks due to how close it simply wasn't on Lighthouse. But wow, feels like a lot of the time in the Sun Conference, we have a pretty good idea who the dominant force in the lobby is this time. So back and forth. Another look at some of this Mercs gameplay. This isn't even the best Mercs moment, not by far. Player had such a strong map to see if that performance can be replicated as we get deeper and deeper into the series.
Yeah, and I think that for Merc and really out of both these teams, I agree with what you said. The ones that Texas A&M won, those 2 rounds that they won, were hard fought barn burners of rounds, just kicking, dragging, and screaming Keiser into a Texas A&M victory. And the round that Keiser won looked like Texas A&M stepped away from the keyboard for a second. It was that level of dominance. Keiser ran the field for a round, but those 2 rounds that were closer won just end up being the deciding factor. And for Keiser, you have to be a bit interested as to what's going to happen next. And it looks like we do have that next map pick. It's going to be, surprise of surprises, shock of shocks, the Kings Row. What a rare map that we so regularly get to see. I feel like calling Kings Row overpicked, or like just calling it popular, is so played out as a joke at this point that I can't even do it without feeling like
Okay, but calling Kings Row overpicked is like saying Mr. Brightside is overplayed in British pubs. Like we know this. We know it's the point where this statement is like divorced from reality. Like, everybody plays Kings Row. Learn another map, please. I beg. But hey, it's fine. It's fine. This is an interesting pick if you do want to play the Doomfist, but Doomfist doesn't need the angles as much as something like a Diva or a Winston does. It's often the case that because you can just empower punch 5 people on main, you don't really need to come from the side as you would on other maps. It is optimal. But then again, you also are going to struggle with more ground-based tanks like a Zarya, like a Ramatra. So we'll see if the bans do want to be playing around what their opponents might play or simply what they were picking in the previous.
Yeah, and I'm interested as to what the bans are going to be for this point. Because my question is when are we going to see the Doomfist ban? Because it's going to happen at some point eventually. They will have the Doomfist ban in that back pocket for Texas A&M. The question is, at what point do they, have to like get out the emergency hammer, break open the glass and say, Ksh, it's an emergency and we need to ban the Doomfist?
I suppose we'll have to wait and see. So far, not really much reason to do it. Obviously, able to find the W. I would imagine they leave it for like a better map type, right? Like you'd rather have it on push, you'd rather have it on like a flashpoint as an example, rather than hybrid, especially Kings Row. So if I were them, I would really be closing this. That being said, I have to wait and see what they actually go for. First ban by they has come through. It's a Wu Yang ban. They're trying to hurt the double flex for backlines that we kind of saw in the previous. Instead, trying to look towards playing more standard, like main support, flex support setups. Again, Springtrap, we've seen, looks very comfortable on Lucio, very comfortable on Brig. On the other heroes today, it's like Moira, Juno, didn't look so electric.
I'm interested in Texas A&M's ban, which I think this is real. No, yeah, that's real. That's going to be Texas A&M banning out the Bastion.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that
I'm
Mercs likes to play quite a
interested in
lot, and it's really annoying on King's Row specifically because you can't like run away from it, right? If he swings you and he's got any sort of protection, your day is going to be pretty terrible. So that's the reason we're seeing this Bastion ban. It is pretty effective, honestly, but again, the question is the Bastion the real problem or is Mercs the real problem? Because he's still going to play the Reaper, and it's still going to be very effective on this map. So a curious position we find ourselves in with the vetoes once more, mostly still around Keiser playing some really strange compositions.
True.
But I think both teams have acquitted themselves quite well in the veto.
Yeah, that was what I was confused about. Was I've been stuck in like, and I'm sure you've been as well, Spec, of like any other matches that aren't this, of being stuck in like the Zarya, Kiriko, Lucio backline with like a Vendetta.
Vendetta, yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, everybody be Vendetta Soj in that setup.
Vendetta, Vendetta Sojourn is what they usually run.
Yeah, I remember when I was casting Face
like,
Masters Division, like literally everything. It basically every team would play it everywhere, unless you banned the Zarya, in which case they go Hazard, or you ban the Vendetta, in which case they go Tracer, or if you ban either support, in which case they go Yang. So the whole veto was kind of like mapped out already. This time we're getting a bit more creative with it, so it's much more fun to cast.
Yeah, and it's why this is so exciting, is because, you know, in like your higher echelons of Overwatch, in like your like tip of the mountain pro play Overwatch, you see a lot of like very, very similar compositions, and you don't see a lot of the crazies in terms of just wild random picks, except for very rarely you see a team like climb that ladder and get up to the highest peak. But now we're seeing a Bastion ban and you go, yeah, that makes sense.
I've seen worse bans, to be fair, but then again, we've all seen bans that actually like ruined your day. I do remember one time a team that shall not be named, even though I do remember who it is. They banned a hero. The ban was so ineffective that the enemy team immediately banned it the next map, and they went from 2-0 up to 2-2 and lost the series. So don't do that. I don't know what involved is watching the stream, but still, like, that was a moment in time.
Oh boy, but now looking at what the Seahawks are bringing for this defense, they're sticking Manny back on the Emre. The Iari Ana composition is of an interesting one, but I'm excited to see this Orisa really trying to counteract the Doomfist.
Yeah, Seahawks are just looking to play for shooting and basically indefinitely. Housewife is mostly looking to shoot anybody that isn't Aquanova. This time doesn't work out. Manny shreds them down, but still 4 players alive means you can't kind of just walk out. Also, the other thing with this composition being so good at shooting, you don't bring it up pushing, right? So if anybody's low HP, if anybody gets picked off first, all they can really do is wait for Seahawks to run back into them, because no speed, no real mobility cooldowns. All you can do about it.
Ooh, Aquanova gets hit with the anti-nade, has to force out that golden. Now pushing in Skyzis. Trying to flag up top as Zombat going to teleport right into that Doomfist and somehow stays alive through it as Manny finds another early pick onto Skyzius and a big sleep. Gala's been doing incredibly well with these sleeps. We've seen some really big ones come out already as Aquanova and the rest of the Eagles holding strong past 3 minutes.
Merch is in a position. See how that works out as we square up once more. Again, going deep, and now is the Doomfist. Really, what you want to do, ignore the reset as much as possible. The Terra Surge are hard to ignore.
Very hard to ignore, and Housewife gets slept up again as the dive goes in onto that backline. Housewife has to pull out. Merc's in a bit of trouble alone as Aquanova tries to collapse onto this Ana. He'll eventually get the kill as Zombat goes down. Housewife still just playing a little bit of the rat there in the backline, just rummaging through the cupboards at this point, trying to grab an Ana or two. And as we pass 2 minutes, it just has not been effective enough as Housewife has been spotted out by Manny with that nade.
Housewife able to extricate himself. Obviously, no more Terra Surge on the board here. You've got a Nano Boost, and with Housewife, especially comboed with the Nano Punch, surely enough for a kill.
Surely enough for a kill. Skyzy's gonna go down. That's 2 picks out of Manny. Manny just actually taking this right back in and combining the Captive Sun into, I think that might have been a Nano Override, is a deadly combo.
Indeed, that was a lot of ultimates invested. Nano Boost actually went on Aquanova. But at the end of the day, Talent used all of their buttons. Seahawks now have a minute and a half, and even though they are dying, they still have a significant also advantage. Merc pulls the trigger.
Pulls the trigger and takes down 2 immediately. Now Merc looking for more against Aquanova, has to dip in for a health pack, but has spotted Gala. Gala going to get healed by this turret, but it's just not going to be enough with the dinks going in time. Housewife pushing in, has that power punch and the ult, and it is lights out play for Keiser University.
Indeed. Takes them a little while to get the ball rolling. Once they do, able to find that cap. Second point might be a little bit easier for them. See how that works out as Manny again trying to charge towards another overload. Spamming damage in. Housewife extricates. But you're close to double supports, Meteor Strike. You can fight pretty aggressive if you are Keiser here. You're pretty comfortable, all things considered. Nice dinks out of Skyzis as well.
Yeah, Skyzis with some really good play early on as, Merc is in a little bit of trouble here. Good aggression from Housewife to try and draw some attention away. As, like you said, there's the aggression that can come through right on top of the Ana. Gala is going to go down. And now Aquanova in trouble. No supports there to help them out, especially with Mecha getting taken down. That's Tomet getting cleaned up. But 3 ults on the board means this next fight's going to be a difficult one, Spec.
Indeed. I mean, we've seen fire results coming through from or basically any one of these ultimates. Now we've got 4 if you are the Eagles. Most notably, of course, Manny with that overload. So high damage, so high value. Mercs can cancel it with a slam punch, but it's going to be tricky. Sky just might find it more consistent just to finish off that Deadeye in time. Try and counter snipe it.
Very possible, and I think that, like you said, Manny's ult going to be the scariest. Zombot going to get stunned up first. It's going to be the Terra Surge combined with the Venture ult as the Nano onto Housewife. Deadly there. Skyzius has the Deadeye, has almost the sights onto the Orisa, but Aquanova will fall regardless. And Texas A&M keeps the cart rolling. Goes from, I think they had like 3 minutes at the start, pushes it in like 2 minutes.
That was a fast cap coming through with the second point, and what looked to be a pretty tragic attempt at King's Row is it's only got a lot more legs to it. Housewife, again, pushing out the boat in as far as how aggressive he can play. Both teams spend aggressively here. Merc's Blossom is the biggest source on the table.
Housewife trying to push in. Aquanova hits Housewife with a javelin right to the jaw. Death Blossom into the back is going to land at the Zombot, but immediately taken down. So it is an even trade for the DPS ults. Not exactly what you would want, especially pushing into late King's Row. You need all 5 of your players, so they're just going to have to pull back there. And a really devastating result for a fight you invested Death Blossom in.
In the world, Sun used to hound you out. You kind of take. It doesn't really win a fight for them. You do get the kill to Skyzio, and now Springtrap, sure, but
yeah.
Again, your opponents hadn't really walked up, so you're not getting the optimal time out of that ultimate. Do they know Mercs is here? Can they do anything about it? My main question is Housewife must always live with that. Meteor Strike is indeed he will.
Zombot just getting collapsed on top of with Amelia gone. Aquanova just pumping out the damage per second. It's Texas A&M putting a big stop to the Seahawks push, and now they've got something going.
Indeed they do. Again, only really 1 fight needed from the Seahawks. Nano Boost available. Housewife very likely the target. However, okay, Housewife doesn't get to fight the game.
Skyzy is going to get the nano, has a Deadeye potentially on the board, but with no tank to really grab the space. Well, neither does the Texas A&M squad. With Aquanova off the board, push in, there goes the Deadeye, has the eyes onto 4, gets Zomba in the end. Skyzy is in some trouble, trying to put the pressure onto this overridden Emre. Will get the pick onto Manny. Merc though in trouble. Skyzy and the rest of Keiser getting trapped into the Orisa ult. Pushed back as the Eagles have to get that pick onto Housewife. Thankfully, Housewife doesn't get any kills in that backline expedition. Skyzy is though gonna get caught in Zombot's crosshairs. Aquanova pushing forward, but Zombot taking another chunk out of the Seahawks, and they need something big here. They need a big pick, but Zombot stays alive and keeps the push going. Amia, I think that's 3 or 4 for Zombot at this point, and is looking for this Reaper to finish it off. Continues the fight, doesn't even need overclock, is gonna pop it through. Merc and Kuzper and Springtrap go down, and I mean, the Captive Sun is just going to be the finishing blow, the cherry on top, with Manny landed some picks as well. 54.41 meters is all that lies for the Seahawks. Going deep into point 2, the best you can say here for Keiser University is that they're past a lot of those common hold points for Kings Row. They got pretty deep.
Especially considering how close they were to getting full held. I don't think they're going to be mad about this performance whatsoever, right? 3rd point, decent. Obviously, you'd love to complete the map, but as you mentioned, past some of the most common hold points. 1st point, broken. Arch hold, broken. End of the streets phase as well. We will not be seeing, and so this is, by any measure, in my opinion, a strong success for Keiser University. But still, if you see this and you're the Eagles, especially considering how much you're winning in the neutral, just burning down Housewife with your Orisa, then I think you're pretty comfortable about your chances of taking this to boot. It was like the Seahawks were winning fights where they broke down a bit when the ult's going to be in their favor, when there was like a large mistake from the opposing side. The Eagles kind of just need to stand there and shoot the enemy Doomfist, right? And if that happens, they'll find a lot of success. You'll note currently starting on the Domina. I don't imagine they'll stick on it. I think Orisa just does everything the Domina does, but better, at least into the Doomfist. So I think this is very much a temporary pick.
Probably, as I expect the Life Weaver to be most likely as well, as the Domina really does struggle to kind of take space. She really excels at holding it, but it looks like the Domina is going to be, it's going to be a pick here for Aquanova and the rest of the Eagles. Throwing out that shield, and I'm interested to see the success here, as he really did have some good success on from Aquanova on the Orisa, as now the Widowmaker out of Manny, probably going to be a switch out soon onto the Emre. Zombot on the Tracer looping around this high ground, but really having to look for that Ana and put that pressure onto her before really getting hunted down by that Brig. Manny putting a lot of good poke out, almost getting a pick on to Merc early on, using those grenades to flush out targets, but Merc goes in aggressive and finds a pick onto Manny in reverse. Housewife in trouble, is just able to escape in time, as now Skyzius takes out Mecha, and Keiser University are so far for the moment holding strong.
I think I like having Skyzius on this Sojourn a lot more. It's a lot harder to be punished in a lot of scenarios. However, double hit scan does mean that high ground is a lot less of a position you can easily contest, and Housewife going down early means you don't have no tools to stop that from occurring. Doom will be back fast, but your best case scenario here is playing back point, playing safe positions, and not getting picked up later.
Yeah, and I think these ults are gonna need to be pretty big here. You're gonna need to see something out of this. Oh, the Nano's gone. The Deadeye, it just has to be massive. It picks up Zombot. So it's an opportunity, but Merc goes down, so it's still a disadvantage, but the re-engage is perfect. Everyone's head was turned towards the Cassidy, and it allowed Housewife and the rest of the Seahawks to punch on through.
Yeah, Huge value there from the Deadeye. So much damage from Merc. Sells his life for it, but who even cares? Housewife, as you mentioned, a triple kill off the back of it. Rock now expanded. Aquanova, a fresh hero. Kitsune is going to be a problem.
Yeah, Kitsune Rush is going to be a lot of DPS rolling through. His Housewife lands that early pick onto Manny. Housewife with another pick onto Gala. And it's just the Doomfist ripping through the side of Texas A&M. A minute and a half remaining. And that empowered punch is just going to land onto everyone left on the field. Aqua Nova in trouble. And a late pick onto Zombot to just... This is BM out of Housewife.
This is feeding out of Housewife. He's gonna die.
It's feeding. It's feeding. Never mind. It's feeding.
You can slam that deep. You cannot punch that deep. It's pretty much that simple. Springtrap also dead, and I think we've just trolled our way into the first point. It is of note here that we're on the single rather than the Orisa, which I do think is, again, just like still worse in most ways that matter. But at the end of the day, 3 minutes of the first point is about what your opponents found. And so you are in a similar position to them. However, they're also better. They're also scarier. And of course, you have to be so scared about any CC onto Housewife. Sweeping your legs out from under you so fast.
Yeah, and notably, they won't be able to play this archway even a little bit, which allowed Keiser to take some time off of that clock for the first point. But that archway is one of those common holding spots that we talked about at the end of Tomet's or of Kaiser's push, that they avoided some of these common holding positions. As the rally into the override pushes back the entirety of Keiser, but it won't matter when 3 picks come out of Manny, and that's just gonna be a wrap entirely. And that's gonna be one more fight in this entire point for the Keiser.
Yeah, that was kind of busted. It kind of is that simple. It's just really good. Obviously, though, you spend that as well as your Mizuki ultimate. Your opponents only really use the rallies. They're coming back with Nano, Deadeye, Meteor Strike. They've got the whole gamut of options. Flux is powerful, but there's a lot of options to cancel it. Oh, Housewife's dead, fight.
Yeah, just got hit, and you get 2 people hit in that Flux, and Merked is on a little adventure. Right to spawn.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate there. Amaya, very likely a dead woman walking as well. Yep, she's cut by Manny. Now, finally, Housewife is stable, but now 3 minutes they've got to defend for really just one fight here. It's a tricky ask here. May well just be the Eagles going up 2-0 in this series, but at least this first fight, they've got significant ult advantage.
Yeah, and that's going to be exactly what they need to put a stop to this momentum. It's what happened to Keiser's, that they had all this momentum rushing in, and then this third point drained it out of them, but they need this big pick. Merked rolling in, has the Deadeye in the back pocket, but definitely not going to use it in this position. Well, never mind. I spoke too soon, apparently. This mech is going to go down, and Zombot will clean up too. And as Tomet actually almost had something there, but a good cleanup from the rest of Keiser, I guess.
Yeah, that's true enough. Obviously, Kitsu being invested, they're going to be wanting that check mark back. Notice how we can't really do any setup here. We kind of have to play on the payload because of how close it is to that golden box of victory. 2 minutes left to go. It means 2 attempts. The overclock here for one, the flux here for the other. Still not out of the woods yet.
I mean, but you just have to pay so much attention to the health bar of Housewife at this point, because if Housewife goes in too deep, gets chained up and potentially taken down there, that just might be the death knell of Keiser and their King's Row ambitions at this point. Coming up to the Gravitic Flux for Aqua Nova, we saw how devastating that could be just a couple of fights ago. Hits the accretion onto Housewife, but there's not enough follow-up. Aggressive play in, gonna get that pick onto Mecha, and it'll be Housewife just pushing the rest in. And that's why Housewife is such a feast or famine tank, because when they're good, oh my goodness, they're good.
You're very happy with this. You only use the Meteor Strike to hold. That being said, you do it at a bit of a weird time. Your opponents might even have 2 tries if they're fast. And what's more, they've basically got all ultimates. The Kitsune Rush still could come online in this fight. The Flux, the biggest problem. Housewife has to stun it. Maya has a possibility with a sleep dart as well, but if it's allowed to connect, that is fight right there.
It connects onto Skyzius, but Skyzius gets the nano to stay alive, has the nano overclock. Can it get something there? Lands the pick onto Mert. Actually, that's Zombot landing the pick onto Mert. Zombot landing a pick onto Housewife as well. That's 2 picks for the Sojourn, and now pushing through, and there's no one left to stall the point. Team kill rings out, and that is now match point for Texas A&M. The Eagles are 1 away from claiming their spot on the podium.
It's really unfortunate last fight there, to be honest. You go for the nano clock on the side angle. Unfortunately, you don't get anything off the back of it. And your opponent just kind of walks main there. I feel like standing main, trying to shoot past the Sigma would have been even the easier game plan here. But we take another look at the overdrive here. It's also just crazy. And it feels like Manny was one of the big factors keeping Housewife honest, right? I mean, the damage coming through from the M-Ray is what often like makes him not able to go for these aggressive blocks, these aggressive plays, because he swings, he rocks, and it instantly down 300 HP and punished for it. So really unfortunate for Keiser. They fought 2 really close maps, but now going to need the reverse sweep if they want that 3rd place finish.
Yeah, and really important here is that change. And I think for Keiser, if you have any sort of hope, and if you have any sort of like, I wouldn't say even ambition, but just like the bright spot of this here for you is that you know that these, I don't know, you know that a lot of these maps were very, very close, and especially King's Row, all you really had to do for that I think would have changed our tune and would have made this bottom score 1-1 was just not have Housewife feed as much. There were some really unfortunate picks onto Housewife in a couple of spots where just a touch overextended, just that nice edge, that little bit too much, but history is decided on the small things, and Overwatch is decided on even smaller things here. So I believe we're going to be taking a quick break before we get into round number 3, or game number 3. But other than that, we're going to give them a quick moment to step back, make some changes, reflect on what they want to do. And other than that, we're going to go to a quick break. We'll see you in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
In the background. Final winner.
Jumping right back into it, we've got potentially one map remaining for the side of Keiser University to pull this back, and they have made their final map choice. It's going to be Coliseo. We also have our bans coming in. The side of Keiser University have banned Emre. Think that's a pretty reasonable one, but the side of Texas A&M, they have pulled out the emergency hammer because Doomfist has been banned.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. You might win here. Doom is good here. Like, if you don't ban Doom here, I don't know what you're saving it for. Overwatch 3, like, entirely valid veto from both these teams. Obviously, we see the Emre ban coming through from Keiser as well. The Emre was a huge threat, but I have to wonder, is the Emre only a problem for the Doomfist? Will, like, other tanks who don't have to eat so much damage in the neutral and who don't get punished so much by eating damage in the neutral find that to be a problem so much? I believe you played D.Va in terms of Doom bans, though I could be wrong. Like, D.Va, you hold Matrix, you don't take any damage at all. Emre can't interact with you. So maybe something that has gone into the calculus, maybe something that hasn't for Keiser University. Either way, they're going to have to start the reverse sweep here.
Yeah, and Push is a tough map to do it. It's one where you've got where momentum carried in can be a very quick death knell for a team. And so for Keiser University, they need to really get things off on the right foot. My personal opinion is I think if they can get that first fight win, they'll have some wind in their sails. I think if they can't win that first fight, we might just see the end of it here for Keiser.
Seems to be the case. Obviously, some substitutes being made. Sanctus Void now in on tank. Aquanova now going to be playing that Adetta. No more Wolves on bot. Off the back of that Emre ban. Manny on taking over. Oh, not taking over the hit scan. Sorry, my mistake. Just going to be on the Soj instead, which just seemed like kind of a free square for hit scan. Like, you ban any hit scan, they're gonna go Soj. Like, let's be real here, right? Other side of things, Housewife actually going to see on the Orisa, a fresh pick for him. Merc's now on the Bastion, one we haven't seen yet. See if it's going to be the difference maker or not.
Yeah, Merc on the Bastion was targeted banned during King's Row, so we'll have to see if they can do some damage onto Sanctus Void on that Hazard. In some trouble already as Mandy's going to take an early pick, and Keiser University in trouble in this early fight and getting collapsed on by Aquanova. Now on the Vendetta, Springtrap goes down, so maybe Keiser University just really losing that first fight and getting picked off the stragglers.
Indeed. Really, really nice first fight here for the Eagles. Seahawks making backline changes back over to the Ana break. Very powerful into the Hazard, but outside of that might find itself weak. You see some of that success so instantly. Sanctus Void overextends a punish.
Yeah, and a great punish out of Housewife on this Orisa. Now looking for the rest of this Texas A&M team as going into the Sojourn, getting burst into. Merc does find a very important pick onto Aquanova, and so more aggression out from Texas A&M. And I mean, Manny finds one pick, but Keiser University will get some momentum.
Indeed. See how long it lasts for, however. No Bastion means you lack a lot of the threats holding back Sanctus Void. And look how far away Merc is. Still probably 10-15 seconds outside the fight.
Yeah, and it's important. I think they probably recognize that, but Aquanova is going to go down first for Texas A&M. Skyzius as well for Keiser. As Housewife and the rest of Keiser need this fight to go their way. Sitting right towards center. Gala going to get hit with the anti-nade. Sanctus Void with some low health, in a bit of trouble. Might go down to that Terra Surge. It's going to be Housewife landing a pick there with the nano on them. And Keiser University do get do get a little bit more forward. Can they take forward spawns though?
See if they can. See if they can't. Eagles will have a touch using the Croc or the Kitsune, maybe even both. Oh, Gala almost over peaks, but the spear misses. Forward spawns, however. Getting closer and closer to the lead taken by the Seahawks.
Taking the lead's a big one. Gala going to use the Kitsune rush early on aggressively. Annie, though, in some trouble on this flank side, as now the rally is going to allow Keiser to push in, but a great wall just barely as Springtrap just squeezes right through. Aggressive beat onto the side of Mecha. Skyzius in some trouble, can't get any picks with the Deadeye. There goes the downpour. No one caught up inside it. Sanctus Void gonna get taken down, but it is back and forth. Checkerboard on that kill feed, although you can only God may know how many of those are actually the back and forth and how much any of those are just the spectator bug.
Take some practice, but eventually it can be figured out. We're just leaving the Tracer there? Akonova just chilling in our backline? We don't really push because we're scared of the Tracer? It feels so awkward, but really unlucky. Seahawks should be able to back out, should be able to reset as 5. You have a Nano Boost, you have a Terra Surge at the very least. Manny's clock is threatening for sure, but easily kiteable. One has to imagine this fight about as close to 50-50 as you can get.
And you do have the Nano on the side of Amaya as the overclock out of Manny. Not finding any damage just yet, but with Gala taking down Housewife, the rest of Keiser is just open, and Manny's gonna take down 2 in the end.
Housewife swings with more bravery than I would. And for that, gets punished once more. Lead goes back the other way forward. Spawns very close to being a possibility. And in fact, should materialize. You've got no speed, you've got no Bastion. You're gonna have to really book if you're Housewife with the Terra Surge to try and touch, and then I'm even gonna try that.
Yeah, the Bastion's going to use the ult over top. A little bit of damage found, I believe, but Tracer recall forced out. Pulse Bomb in. Great evasion by Housewife, but Skyzius gets taken down early again and into the Kitsune rush. Oh, you do find a pick onto Gala. So now an opportunity with no support on the board, but keeping this bot moving past 80 meters. Mecha goes down, and it's the Orisa caught up. I think that Orisa actually stunned the Sigma with the Javelin. Great play there to keep this alive, but with 90 meters plus and 5 minutes remaining on the board, it's starting to look dire for the Seahawks.
Indeed. Still, it's like 2 fights, I would say, to get to about the same level of distance, 3 to overcome it. By no means the end of the world. You've got significant also advantages to boot. Early pick here would be beautiful. Aquanova playing with death, still alive, barely. Disabled.
Aquanova, there are just a couple of players in this lobby that just dance with death like it's their regular Tuesday morning salsa class at this point. Aquanova has to use the recall. Housewife would get a pick. It's 2 DPS going down, 1 on each side, as Housewife is so aggressive with that push in. Gets the pick onto Gala, so rewarded for that aggression, and now the bot going to push forward. This is almost certainly forward spawns for the Seahawk. An opportunity.
That it is. One of the things we have to make sure they're doing now is setting up effectively for that next fight. Make sure they're not caught out in the rotation. Still playing under bridge. Swinging towards that kind of staircase area is what they should be doing. What they look to do. Be engaged. A possibility for Mecha. See if it goes towards it or not, or whether they're worried about a possible nano boost. Speaking of that now, it's exactly what we have to be farming. Housewife has to be taking damage, and Maya has to be healing it back up, because without that nano, you are essentially skint.
Nano boost is online for Amaya, going to go on to Merc, but Merc's going to get immediately hit by the accretion, in trouble. Merc has the nano alive, but just barely. Actually, the Seahawks take the lead just by a hair, by less than a meter. They have the lead.
Yeah, we have that nano a little bit earlier. You have form a little bit earlier. We're able to stop the walk up, but because it is a bit late, then they're being engaged. Ultimately wins out the fight. But as you mentioned, the Seahawks the ones with the lead. 3 minutes left in the bank. Only 80 centimeters the difference, but that's going to feel like a canyon right now.
and it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to take back. Crucially, the Eagles do land a pick their forward spawns. Manny with the overclock. A pick here could be this deal sealer. Gets the pick onto Merc. Looking for Springtrap. Housewife's going to go down. That's 2 picks for Manny on the Sojourn. And Skyzius can take 1 to match, but even the sleeping Sanctus knows that that's a big pick. Forward spawns pushing forward, and that's going to be the bot retaking the lead for the Eagles with 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, that seems what we spoke about on, especially Elio. It feels like worth entering the conversation again. Housewife close. It's a risk ultimate without it. Loses HP very quickly. Goal forced out, but already low HP. The Kitsune rush, ridiculous value. The Flux could be popped, but doesn't seem like they want to pull the trigger just yet.
No, that's the Terra Surge out from Housewife. No kills off of it directly. It's going to be Gala and Mecha actually on the side of the Eagles, combining for 3 picks in the end. As now you've got Mecha on the loose here, taking another pick. And this bot pushing forward past 110 meters. The Seahawks are in absolute panic mode at this point. 1:30 left, and Housewife goes down again.
Yeah, super late. Makes this retest so much harder. A Flux surely guaranteed to find a kill. They don't even need one to take care of Mercs this time. Might be the end of the road here for the Seahawks.
With an early Flux from this Sigma, putting a lot of pressure onto Amaya. Skyzius goes down. Springtrap down. Manny picking up 2. It's an in on Housewife. All the hopes and dreams of the Seahawks on that board, but it will not be enough in the end. That's going to be the win for the Eagles. They will take their spot in 3rd place.
Indeed, but even though it was 3-0, I think it was a really close series for the Seahawks. A couple times they've made some strange step-ups, but I think they show that when they do play to their peak, they are absolutely capable of bringing the fight to the Eagles. When we look at that Lighthouse round, for example, of that, but unfortunately, I think I just couldn't find a successful enough formula. Couldn't correct the oversteps that were punishing them. So, and that's why none of these maps that they fought for so hard today could be theirs.
No, and a really disappointing end result there, I think, for Keiser University, because we talked about just how close both of these teams were. And, you know, it's something that you say a lot as a caster of just the scoreboard didn't tell the full story of how close this game was. But this time, I really feel it. I think just how close this game was at points, how dominant Keiser University looked at times, how at points they looked like just an incredibly strong team, at times even looking like the stronger of the 2 teams on the field here. But unfortunately, some of those small moments just ended up being the straw that broke the camel's back, and they couldn't find the win. Eventually, they couldn't put it together. They couldn't string together the good plays that we've seen, some of them flashing up on the screen right now. They couldn't string them together into a map win. It just didn't happen.
I mean, it was multiple times that they were literally one fight off. So it does feel like a little bit of like a dice roll. Oh, almost that it kept coming up Snake Eyes. It's the reason they ended up going down 3-0, but also consistently, I think we saw they were also just kind of getting worked in neutrals. They had these hype moments that we're seeing here where Merc took double kills on Reaper, where multiple times the Housewife getting 3 or 4 Ks from the Doomfist.
Yes, good job, good job. I think they're gonna try to pitch him in.
Everyone is searching for the right fit to blend community, a career-centered focus, and the opportunity to make a difference. Where friendships are formed and students always come first. Our reputation was built in Florida, a not-for-profit university with over 40 years of history, thousands of graduates, on campus and online, and now with a 100-acre residential campus. This can be your right fit. We are Keiser University.
At this time, Keiser Athletics would like to thank the following donors. At this time, Keiser Athletics would like to thank our proud sponsors. Duffy's Sports Grill, Hawthorne Suites by Wyndham, Hilton Gordon Inn by The Outlets, Holiday Inn by the Airport, USA Foam, and Witch Doctor Tackle, custom fishing rods made for you. At this time, Keiser Esports would like to thank their proud sponsor, Coastal Kava.
Because you either beta or still it just hurt. belly was cracked.
Definitely close to